Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Compelling Insights, a series of conversations that I am having with you and with myself through this while traveling through this barren beauty of Ladakh. At my back, you can see Lake Pangong, Pangong So, Pangong Se. You can see the vast expanse of lovely waters. The colors are ranging from deep blue, Prussian blue, aqua blue, and as you move to this side, you can see some hues of green, emerald green. It's the best place, one of the best lakes I've seen. My name is Himanshu Saxena. I'm a thinker, writer, speaker, and coach. Being on a personal quest, I'm in the process of rediscovering myself. And as I'm gaining new insights and revelations, I'm tempted to share with you. By the way, many of these insights have been triggered by the questions my clients would have asked me. Today's conversation is about handling the unaddressed notions or unfounded assumptions. One day, one leader asked me a question. He said, "Why do things come late to me in life?" I found this question very intriguing. While I was taking time to respond to such a question, I saw that this question is rooted in comparison and relativity. Before I could think of responding to this question, my down the lane memory button had already been activated. This question took me to a period between 1983 and 87. That was the period where I faced 23 rejections before I faced or I got my first respectable job. At that point of time, if you look at the data may point to the fact that things did come late to me in my life. But did I codify that experience that things come to me late in life? No, I did not. Rather, I thought that maybe there is something better in store for me. So that was a perspective I had at that point of time. 14 years later, I was called 5 times for an interview for a global assignment with the United Nations. By the way, all the 5 chances I didn't make it. I eventually made it in the 6th attempt. That turned out to be one of the most rewarding, challenging, and a game changing experience for me. I don't think the experience that I got in the 6th attempt could have got in any of those 5 attempts. So did I codify that experience that things come late to me in life? No, I certainly did not. Through these two incidents, I learned to appreciate the design of life. Life has a design. If we can appreciate and respect the design of life, we could be far happy and satisfied. By this time, my silence was really becoming unnerving to my client. Rather, it was becoming annoying to him. So, regaining my mindfulness, I broke my silence and I decided to put the question back to him. I asked him, "What do you think could be the reason for such a notion in your life that things come late to you in your life?" The person took some time to respond to the question and he said, "Well, I'm not good at sucking up. Maybe sucking up is not my cup of tea. And sucking up is required to grow up in the life beyond a certain stage." That was the response he came. I allowed him some space to think and I followed up with another question. I said, "How fair is your answer or assessment of your notion?" I asked him to peg a percentage weightage to his response. He started with 90%, and with some utterances and silences, he graduated to around 60%. That's where he settled down. He said maybe 60%. See the power of a question. He initially said 90%, but a combination of question and silence allowed him to gain objectivity from his initial assessment. I said, all right, 60% is fair. I followed up with another question. What would you attribute the remaining 40%? Thinking about that remaining 40%, he came up with three plausible outcomes or three plausible answers. The first one, he said, maybe I was not ready. I said, all right, go on. Second, he said, maybe I chase things too desperately. Actually, it was the third question. The second one, he said, maybe I panic at the last minute. So I hooked on to his last question that I chase things too desperately. I asked him, why do you think you chase things so desperately? He took some time to respond to the question, and maybe he was traveling down the memory lane in his growing up years, and he came up with a response that things did not come easy to me in my early years, in my growing years of life. I thought the loop is getting completed, but I just thought of pushing one more time, building the intensity of the question, and I asked him, why do you think that things did not come easily to you in your early and growing up years? I think at this point of time he was gaining far more self-awareness, and he said, I don't think I prepared hard enough to compete and win. I think that was the epiphany. At that point of time, I thought this is time to close the loop and bring him to some realization. I said, all right, let's connect the dots. So I involved him in this process of co-creation. I said, look at your responses. If we construct all his responses in a sequential manner or in a circular fashion, this is how the picture will look like. Step 1, things did not come easy to me in my life because I used to get panic at the last minute. Why? Because I chase things too desperately. Why? Because things did not come easily to me in my life. Why? Because I didn't prepare hard enough to compete and win. Now, if you go through this sequence, you see the objectivity setting in. At this point of time, I thought of revisiting his question. I asked him, would you like to recalibrate the response or the percentage that you gave when you are thinking that sucking up is not my cup of tea and this is also required for growing up in life? I think this was his time to be silent and my time to get annoying that why he's taking so much time. He did take about 2.5 minutes and he says 70-30. I said, all right, what is 70 and what is 30? He said, 70% is I didn't prepare hard enough to compete and win. I said, fantastic. What is the remaining 30%? He said, 30% I can attribute to other factors, which could be luck, not managing the environment, not paying attention to those subtle clues which are happening around me, and as a process, not developing the skill of influence. So if you look at this entire story, there was an unaddressed notion. And the client said, I'm very happy to participate in this question answer process because initially I attributed 60% that sucking up is the way to forward. I did not realize that I am not preparing hard enough. At the end of the process, I think my unaddressed notion got illuminated. Let me summarize this entire conversation for you. All of us have some unaddressed, unfounded assumption deep inside us. If we do not address that, it will keep gripping our hand, blocking us from the progress. So there are three insights I would like to share with you in basis this entire story. Getting things early and late is a part of design of life. We can hasten up the process, but we cannot ensure its fruition. The second thing is we all have this unaddressed notion, and we need the right question and a conversation to illuminate that unaddressed notion. Third is whatever responses that we attribute to a question, we must peg it in percentage and ratio terms. The moment we put a number and the question is asked to us, how fair is our response? That's where the objectivity starts setting in. So I'm going to invite you to do this exercise for you. Take some time, travel through the nature, find inspiration, and ask this question that what is the unaddressed notion I'm carrying, harboring, which could come in the way, and use this wisdom to illuminate and gain insight which will change the course for you. So that's all in this episode. Signing off from here, from the Lake Pangong. Enjoy the beauty, see the barrenness of the mountain, how beautiful they look like, and stay happy, stay blessed.